Thomas here, and in this video we will be discussing the difference between weather and climate. By the end of this video, our goal is to identify the difference between weather and climate. We also want to be able to distinguish between factors that determine weather versus those that determine climate. Weather is the one we are most familiar with, so let's start there. Weather consists of short-term changes in conditions in the atmosphere. This means that when you look out the window, you are seeing weather. We might describe weather as sunny, windy, rainy, or even stormy. The changes in the atmosphere that we can observe describe our weather. Weather is chaotic and can be affected by even the smallest changes in the atmosphere. Let's take a look at some of those changes. Short-term changes in the atmosphere can be influenced by atmospheric pressure, air temperature, amount of moisture in the air, and the amount of cloud cover or fog at any given time. These factors have a short-term impact on our atmosphere that we can see as changes in weather. Air pressure isn't something we can directly observe, but we can measure it. It affects the way air is moving in a given area. Air temperature, humidity, and clouds are all things we can directly observe, and they all have an impact on weather in the short term. For example, there could be a rain shower or even thunderstorms if these conditions are right. Now that we have talked about weather, let's take a look at climate. Climate is the long-term average of weather over multiple years. Unlike weather changes, changes in climate are due to large-scale interactions and global forces that we cannot readily observe out the window. Let's take a look at some of the things that determine climate. Remember, factors that impact climate are much larger in scale than those that impact short-term weather changes. For instance, the Earth's tilt in relation to the Sun. This affects how much direct sunlight is received at a given latitude, or where you are in relation to the equator. Areas such as the North and South Poles receive much less direct sunlight and have much colder climate. Altitude, or distance above sea level, will also have an impact on your climate. Areas farther away from Earth's surface at sea level are much colder on average than areas closer to sea level. Landforms, such as mountain ranges, can impact areas' climate as air in the atmosphere is forced to rise over the mountains, drastically changing average weather patterns for that area. However, the most drastic changes we are seeing in climate right now are due to greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. These gases control how much of the sun's heat energy is trapped by the Earth's atmosphere. With the recent increase in greenhouse gases, the Earth's atmosphere is trapping more and more of the sun's energy in the form of heat. All that added energy is slowly changing the climate on Earth. This isn't the first climate change in the history of Earth, but it's the first time humans are driving these changes. So let's review. The difference between weather and climate is that weather is short-term changes in the atmosphere that you can see by looking out the window, and climate is the average weather over a long period of time. Climate is not observable, but we can measure the changes by monitoring patterns in the atmosphere. Short-term changes in the atmosphere that create weather can be influenced by things like air pressure, air temperature, humidity, and cloud cover. These are all observable and can change the weather we see day to day. Long-term changes to the atmosphere that create climate are influenced by much larger interactions that occur on a global scale. Things like the amount of direct sunlight received due to latitude and the Earth's tilt, your altitude, landforms, and of course, greenhouse gases that trap heat energy from the sun.